Hello everyone, back tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at the rainfall event coming up across southern parts of the country tomorrow. Then we'll go on to have a look at next week's weather and see whether it may turn cold again next week, as I suggested in the video the other day that it might do. So we're going to start off with the high resolution NAE model from the UK Met Office. You'll remember yesterday there was just the suggestion that we could see some snow across northern parts of England and North Wales. Well, that's been downgraded today, and the reason is that this area of rain isn't getting as far north as it looked like it would do yesterday. It looks like we're going to keep the rain really for central and southern parts of England and Wales. We're not pushing up into North Wales and northern England. And of course it would be over the higher ground of North Wales and the Pennines that you would expect to see the snow if the rain was coming that far north, but it isn't. It looks like the rain's going to be sticking more towards the south. So it's really looking like a rainfall event tomorrow across central southern parts of England, southwest England, the Midlands, East Anglia, the southeast as well. Now there could be a few flakes of snow mixed in with this over high ground, particularly for Wales and the Midlands, but I don't think it'll amount to too much, and it certainly shouldn't be a problem. We will have the risk of snow for Scotland though. The pink area up here is showing that we are getting some quite heavy snow there across central parts of Scotland, particularly over high ground once again, but maybe over some lower ground as well. So that's where the snow will probably be tomorrow, up in the central northern parts of Scotland. It's really looking like rainfall event for central southern parts of England and Wales. Now as we go up beyond this, we're actually going to be turning it colder. These are the GFS temperature ensembles. This is for the upper atmosphere, but they're useful for lower down as well. This is the coming period really, and there's the rainfall event in the south tomorrow with that area of precipitation spikes there. But then you'll notice that over the weekend we get this very brief reduction in the temperature, so we'll get cooler over the weekend. Then they go back up again early next week, but really for around the 5th of February onwards we're going to see those temperatures dipping below average, and they stay below average for quite a few days actually through next week. Now around the 9th or 10th of February we get this interesting split developing. Some of the models are going, some of the ensemble members I should say of the model are going quite mild. Other members of the ensemble are going quite cold, actually going very cold, some of these members once again. And I think the reason we're getting this split is that the model is beginning to pick up on an area of high pressure building over Scandinavia. Now that could bring in a milder southerly or southwesterly wind, or it could bring in a much colder easterly flow. So I think that's the reason we're getting this split, as I say, in the temperature ensemble. So I think we will be turning colder actually through the course of next week. This is how we start off with the generic GFS model for Tuesday the 5th of February. This low pressure up to the north of Scotland will be bringing in this west to northwesterly wind around that area of low pressure. That gives us the first push of cooler air through next week, and that could turn northerly then as we move through into the 6th of February. There comes the northerly wind coming down across the country, so that could well be bringing snow showers to northern and eastern areas of the country, and it will certainly be quite cold with hard overnight frost. Then we go in sort of a slack type pattern here with ridge of high pressure trying to come in from the Atlantic. As I say, I think it's looking quite slack, so it will be cold, probably not particularly snowy, but hard overnight frost through the latter stages of next week. But notice as we go towards Friday, yeah, we're beginning to get this area of high pressure starting to build over Scandinavia once again. That's got very cold air up over there, and as we move beyond this to Sunday the 10th of February, which is as far out as I can realistically go, because then we're getting into the realms of real sort of fantasy island type weather charts, and we're starting to see this area of high pressure really building up here over Scandinavia, 1,030 millibars, with trough disruption going on in the Atlantic, and that just means that the low pressures are stalling and promoting that area of high pressure over Scandinavia. So beyond that you would probably think this high pressure could start to take control of the pattern once again, with the low pressures stalling in the Atlantic. But that's very speculative, but it's certainly interesting to ponder. But as we go up towards the middle of February, we might start to see a Scandinavian high coming back once again. And of course, you have the Scandinavian high that delivered all of the cold weather through the middle of January. Now, have a look at the ECMWF. Got again a low pressure to the north of Scotland for Monday the 5th of February, Tuesday the 5th of February I should say, bring down this west or northwesterly wind. There'll be a strong cold wind as well. That turns northerly as we move through into the middle of the week, very similar to what we just saw on the GFS model. And then we get this slack sort of period taking over into the latter stages of next week. Everything can be quite slack, but still cold, and it will be particularly cold at night with hard overnight frost probably, and maybe some snow showers up in the north and the east as well. And then again beyond that, Sunday the 10th of February, notice again this area of high pressure building over Scandinavia, the ridge building in from the Atlantic. whether that would eventually set up an easy flow, I'm not quite sure. Really, the low pressure up here around Greenland and Iceland is very deep. But certainly, again, it's the same sort of idea that we see on the GFS model, that high pressure building over Scandinavia from around Sunday the 10th. And then finally have a look at the GEM, where we've got the low pressure again to the north of Scotland as we go into Tuesday the 5th, bring down this northwesterly flow across the country. And then we maintain that west or northwesterly flow throughout next week. Now this is not as cold for next week as the GFS and the ECMWF. I'm not quite sure that the GEM, the Canadian one, has quite got the pattern here. But it's the same idea really, but bring down this northwesterly flow, just don't get the northerly from the amplification that we see on the GFS and the ECMWF. But interestingly, as we go towards Friday the 8th and then Sunday the 10th, we end up in a very similar type setup. Actually, we end up in a colder setup really, with high pressure ridging from the Atlantic up towards Scandinavia, bringing the winds back round into the east again. That's a proper easterly flow starting to set up by Sunday the 10th, with snow showers coming into the east most probably. So the trends are quite interesting this morning. It does look as though we're going to have a cooler, colder type week next week. Not desperately cold, but certainly cooler or colder. Wintry showers and hard overnight frost as well from around Tuesday onwards throughout the rest of the working week next week. And then as we go into next weekend, we've got to start watching out for that high pressure building over Scandinavia. I think that could well take us into an easterly flow towards the middle of February. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.